Now, a Red Solo Cup is the best receptacle for barbecues, tailgates, fairs, and festivals, and you, sir, do not have a pair of testicles if you prefer drinking from glass. Hey, Red Solo Cup is cheap and disposable. In 14 years, they are decomposable, and unlike my home, they are not foreclosable. Freddie Mac kissed my ass. Woo! Red Solo Cup, I fill you up. Let's have a party. Let's have a party. I love you, Red Solo Cup. I lift you up. Proceed to party. Proceed to party. Now, I really love how you're easy to stack, but I really hate how you're easy to crack. Because when beer runs down the front of my back, well, that, my friends, is quite yucky. But I have to admit that the ladies get smitten, admiring how sharply my first name is written on you with a Sharpie when I get to hitting on them to help me get lucky.
Yeah.
The principle proved once again.
Hopefully we can get away with that.
We'll
see.
Our intro is a unifying piece of art.
I know.
That brings together
all music
of
works
human
to
music.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
The intro, guys, you have to admit, is becoming passe, though.
Oh, yeah. Pass A.
I'm so...
Man, fuck anybody who
sick.
sa's that, honestly.
Red Solo Cup.
Fuck them right out of existence, in my opinion.
I fill you up.
Our fucking intro is a work of metaphysical beauty.
I agree.
And that's just that.
I agree.
You got a strange cup by you, TJ.
Yeah, it's a good cup.
It's his Red Solo Cup.
Red Solo Bong. I fill you on. Let's smoke some tobacco. And let's get wacko.
Wow.
Damn, TJ.
Good old TJ.
Dude, I actually have about 500 Red Solo Cups.
You're so
Because I went to Sam's Club and I bought a pack and like that's all they had and I had to buy those cups. I'm like, well, I'll use them. You know, everyone's getting Solo Cups for Christmas from me, especially TJ. You're getting a ton of Solo Cups.
Red
TJ.
Solo Cup.
And don't say it's not
I
fucking
fill
useful,
you
dude.
up.
Don't say you can't fucking use it, dude. It's the most useful fucking gift I'll ever give you.
I kind of
Styrofoam cups.
I
would be
like
more
that
useful.
song, kind of.
Well, who doesn't?
I like that song.
Come on.
I like it.
It's the best that modern country has to offer.
It
TJ.
really kind of is, which is sad, but still, I mean, it's not a bad
I mean,
song.
Toby
really.
Keith isn't even popular anymore, so it's not even really modern country anymore.
What's popular with the country now?
You fucking tell me.
Just look it up.
I will.
What's the top of the country charts?
Country music.
Who's got all the hits with
charts.
country music? Who's number one on the country charts?
Who's number one? Let us take a look. It's in Billboard. All right. Number one is Old Dominion's one-man band. Top country song in America right now.
All right, let's hear it. We can hear 5 seconds.
We're going to put this on Vimeo, I'm sure, so.
I don't want to be a one-man band. I don't want to be a Rolling Stone alone, putting miles on a rundown van.
God.
I fucking hate it,
well,
dude.
I hate that.
Simpering pussy music.
I'm a fucking pussy bitch.
I mean, say what you want about like mumble rap or whatever. Like, I'd rather listen to that than that.
Oh, any day of the week.
I mean,
dude.
fucking give me a break. What the fuck is that? It's no balls, dude.
No balls.
I don't want to be a Rolling Stone. What the fuck,
I don't
man?
want to be a Rolling Stone.
It's just bad
Come
fucking
on, dude.
old tropes.
Just
and
want to sit and suck my bone.
Country used to kick fucking ass.
Yeah,
man.
don't kick no ass no mo.
Used to be where all the shit kickers and outlaws in the fucking music scene had to go.
That was according to Billboard. Let's see what's number one on this, because they won't show you your whole list. So they got, that's actually number two on this country chart. This is Country Top 40. Bob Kingsley's CT40, Country Top 40. Remember You Young, Thomas Rhett.
Oh, God.
That sounds like some
let's
pussy
play
shit.
it. Let's
We
play it.
Were, Keith Urban. I mean, they don't have little playlists on this one. Riding Roads by Dustin Lynch.
Riding Roads. Don't want to hear that one.
What If I Never Get Over You by Lady Antebellum.
No.
Heartache Medication by John Party.
What the fuck, dude? It's all
Tip
about
of My
breaking up.
Tongue by old Kenny Chesney, boy.
Is country music all breakup music now?
It's all just like sad.
There's one called We Back by Jason Aldean. We back.
Oh, maybe that's like some shit kicker country, man.
There's one called Hell Right
Hell Right.
Whoa.
by Blake Shelton featuring Trace Adkins.
Oh,
Hell Right. So which one do you say sounded like maybe it was good?
none of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
you said one of them sounded like old school to you.
We back.
We back.
Maybe it's talking about like coming back from the fucking
All right.
Let's see. We back.
I'll give that one a play.
We back
By
man.
Jason Aldean. Is
Yep.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I guarantee you Taylor knows all this shit.
Gross.
Yeah, because she actually knows some shit about country music.
All right, I'm going to go a little further in. It sounds like they got some heavy metal guitar
That was like
in
some
there.
metal guitar.
Like a red man in his pocket. He's kind of red man, but he's rocking. Wears a beat up Telly and a Marshall stack.
Nope, it's the same shit.
Yep.
Beat up truck and an old ass dog.
I love how anyone can claim to be country now, too. It's a bunch of, like, rich assholes who are like, no, I'm country like you. It's like, no, you're not,
I'm
dude.
country as fuck here in my Hollywood mansion.
You got like 10 Ford Raptors, dude. Come on.
Chasing you.
Yeah.
Blessing. If lonely if you are. Die from a broken heart. Drinking alone.
There's even like regional
fuck, dude?
country too, because when I'm listening to the radio over here, I've heard this like song by some, I can't even remember the name of the fucking band now, but they're obviously writing songs just for the fucking hits down here. Their song goes like, I was born in the rain on the punch a train underneath the strain of a hurricane. You know, it's like got gators and swamps, and it's just like
swamps and gators and swamps.
it's like, okay, this was just written to sell records over here.
all the new
That's
tree
like
of
Southern
rap that
pride
you want.
bullshit, dude. That's all that appeals to. People are like, I'm from the South. The South's good. It's like, I'm from Louisiana, so it's even better. We have like crawfish and shit.
We should do it. We should just fucking start a fucking Louisiana country band.
If only any of us had any kind of musical
Yeah.
talent
Yeah.
to speak of.
I'm sadly lacking.
That doesn't seem to
department.
matter, really. So
I mean, I don't know.
Well,
we
yeah,
get some generic guitar chords,
man.
do some caterwauling, you know?
Sounds
That's all. That's
sounds like a money losing proposition to me. Let's do it.
Let's do it for sure.
dude. I think you guys.
Oh,
need,
come on, man.
You guys need to get the fucking.
We'll
beard.
call it. They grow them different
Dude,
down here
I'll say it.
on the swamp.
I'll
They
say
grow
it.
them different.
Dude, I'll say
Grow
it right
'em
now,
different
TJ.
down here on the swamp.
I don't think you need to do that. I think you need to do the bearded lesbians.
We could just call it the Bearded Lesbians.
That's fine, but you know, the bearded lesbians was a fucking idea you guys abandoned, man.
I don't know what you're talking about. The Bearded Lesbians
We're
are
still
two-
going strong. What the fuck you talking
What
about?
do you mean we? The Bearded Lesbians are two artists who have not yet chosen to reveal their first names.
Oh.
And as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, as far as I've heard, they're still working on their EP. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Their debut.
I don't know what all this
set
we
to
shit
go
is.
Sounds like a Chinese democracy album.
quintuple platinum.
Yeah.
Destined.
So we'll get in
fucking
like
album.
14 years. Wonderful. Thanks,
Yep.
guys.
Oh, it's gonna be it's gonna be way better than Chinese democracy, dude.
I mean, we might get it in 14 years. We might get it next year. Who knows? Nobody knows the minds of the enigmatic Bearded Lesbians.
we're gonna call it an even more ironic American democracy. It's gonna be good, or not we, but the bearded lesbians who we don't know who they
Yeah,
are.
who you don't know who they are,
But you know,
but you'll suggest that name to them if you ever see them.
well, no, they're called the bearded lesbians. I mean, they already.
Yeah, they came up with that name.
Yeah, I was just relaying to you, what's going on, because I know people are deeply fascinated with what the bearded lesbians.
They're ready
are
for
up
the
to.
I'm
bearded
sure.
lesbians.
Dude, there's a lot of people.
Oh, America's
clamoring.
ready.
They're
America's
clamoring
ready.
for it right now.
Red Solo Cup. I fill
Well-
you up.
In the country music that we listen to, we heard a lot about misfortune.
Yeah.
Seems to be all it's about these days is how things are going wrong, how your truck is podunk. Everybody has experienced misfortune.
Yeah.
A stubbed toe, unexpected tumble, a burnt meal. TJ, you know about that.
Uh-huh.
A forgetful mind, careless mistake, a dropped valuable, car crash. I know you've experienced misfortune, Scotty.
Every day.
Oftentimes, we humans will look up to the heavens and address God or the universe or whatever. We'd say, why? Why has this misery befallen us, O Lord? Why me? Why now? Why in this the worst of ways? We've all done this. We've all, looked up into the sky to entreat the powers that be, like, why is this shit happening to me? And let me tell you, that's exactly what the wee folk want. With our eyes cast upwards, we are sure to miss the real source of our ill luck. They're there, among the hedges, behind the old rotten tree, lurking behind the everlasting gobstopper machine, or in a hole at the bottom of a small hill. There lies the culprit. One of the wee folk has visited you, TJ.
Oh, shit.
Perhaps we earned our injury by causing injury to one of them. Perhaps we've insulted one of the Fae or taken something that was theirs by right. Perhaps we great lumbering idiots are just in the wrong place at the wrong time, ignorant of the knowledge that would have spared us. Well, tonight, I hope to help us identify the true source of all our troubles.
Fuck.
Heed not the wise men that say that we are all the source of our own foibles and shortcomings. No, if you've been told that, you've been lied to. Tonight, you're going to know the truth of the wee folk.
Yeah, and this motherfucker here, he's a pretty scary one.
Every time I see the Leprechaun now, I just think of Leprechaun in the Hood, dude. And the Leprechaun smoking all kinds of fucking weed with the gangsters.
And he still was fucking killing people,
I
too.
know, it was great, dude.
He's a rare example of somebody that doesn't really mellow out much when he hits the bong. You know what I
Fuck
mean?
no, dude.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can
He does enjoy it, though.
You can sit there and, like, share some fucking weed with him and shit, and you think, like, maybe we're all cool. And then next thing you know, you're fucking wearing that bong as a fucking, chest decoration or whatever.
And you know what, Scotty? You might find that bong scene in Lep in the Hood, once we get to Leprechauns tonight, is a little bit more accurate than it should be.
Whoa.
We'll
Leprechauns
see.
are fucking brutal.
That's scary, man.
We'll see. No, I'm talking about the weed smoking.
Oh, cool. Fuck, man.
You're gonna find out. But let's start with
this?
a different member of the
hippo
wee folk.
rat?
Now, this is a kobold. If you play modern video games or D&D, this is probably something like what you think about when you think of a kobold. This is a kobold from World of Warcraft, by the way.
Yeah, I look like a wild character.
This one is more like rat-like, maybe with a little bit of pig mixed in. You'll see them sometimes as like dogs, too. They have like canine kind of features, or sometimes just goblinized. But this is a modern interpretation of a kobold.
I've never even heard of these.
Do they always have a candle on their head, or is that just a WoW?
No, that's a
tradition?
WoW thing.
Okay.
When you kill them in WoW, they say, take candle. So, but this is, of course, all our modern fucking reinterpretations of kobolds. Kobolds originated as small helper spirits in Teutonic Germany, where they can be found in carvings dated all the way back to the 13th century. They're spirits or of the fairy realm, and are most commonly found in woods or mines. So I guess this one being depicted with a mining pick and shit makes sense. What's most intriguing about kobolds is not only their persistence into modern folklore, but the way in which they seem to transcend various provinces and faiths. So when we're talking about kobolds here, we're actually talking about a whole swath of these little things. A lot of them are just the same thing with a different name. So in England, they're known as brownies. In France, goblins.
Goblin?
Goblin.
Right.
You are goblin?
Belgium, they call them kabooters.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Kabooters.
Yep. And there's a whole host of other little kind of creatures like this from this area of the world that all share the same attributes. I picked the one that I like the best. I think kobold sounds coolest.
Cool.
Although they are helpers, once attached to a particular human or place, they will refuse to leave. So they're helpful, but you don't really get a choice in the matter. Once they've moved in with you, you got a kobold.
Yeah, there's just no getting rid of it.
Right. So if you anger them or you become a hindrance to their help, the kobold then becomes an annoying prankster bent on making life miserable for those it once helped. So it's kind of like a reverse slavery kind of thing. You get this little helper, but if you offend him in any way, he's not going to help you anymore, and now he's going to just turn your whole fucking life into a living
Dude,
hell.
I'd have to say a solid no for me, man. I know I pissed this thing off at some point.
I mean, yeah. Think about
no
how you would
fucking
constantly have to be like nice to it, you know? And it's a weird puzzle because if you're nice to it, it's nothing but helpful to you. You know, it makes sure you don't trip. It cleans up your messes. It'll, there's reports of them turning milk into cheese overnight.
Yeah, Paul, but you know what it takes? All it takes is one morning that you wake up, you're in a bad mood, and you're a little fucking,
yeah, maybe you
goobling
trip
is
over
here.
this motherfucker or something, and you're like, fuck, god damn it, watch where the fuck you're going.
You go,
and
now
then it's over
offended.
for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Then
And
there's
then now you got a fucking lifelong pest that's going to fucking, instead of turning your fucking milk into cheese, it's going to turn your cheese
dude,
into shit.
you have a fucking magical pest, dude. You can't get rid of. I mean, fuck that. No way.
So there's actually 3 different types of kobolds that exist. I was not aware of this. There are 3 distinct types of kobolds. We're going to learn about all 3 tonight. all of which are considered to be beneficial helpers unless provoked. The first are household helpers, coaxed from the woods they inhabited by offerings at their tree and carvings at the homes of that desired their presence. The second are associated with mines and other underground domains. And finally, there are the klabautermen, associated with ships and seafaring. All three are shapeshifters, capable of taking any form. So at the end of each one of these, we're going to talk about how powerful they were, and that's something we got to keep in mind. These motherfuckers can be anything that they want to be.
Right.
But when they take the more humanoid form that we're looking at now, they're always short of stature. So they can't, I guess they can look like anything but a full-grown human. So they're also capable of invisibility, and so will often attach themselves to a human without the human even knowing it.
So you might not even know that you have this thing around that you have to keep from offending.
Damn.
The unfortunate upshot of this is that the human who doesn't know that the kobold is there because it's invisible can offend the kobold without ever being aware of its presence and then have to suffer the consequences.
So you might have a run of good luck, like, wow, I'm doing so well. And then, you do something that offends this motherfucker. You don't even know he's there.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he's fucking with your life and your life turns to shit. And you're like, man, what the fuck happened? And
I mean,
little
dude,
did you know, it's because you pissed off a damn kobold.
What if your kobold is like a fucking vegetarian or something, dude, and you eat a fucking burger? You're like, man, I've been doing really good. I'm gonna have this fucking hamburger. You've offended him. Now you're fucked.
And you didn't even know he was there.
Yeah, you didn't even fucking know it was there, dude.
This explains so much of life.
No,
you
I know. One of the things that I enjoyed about researching this episode was learning about all these little things that we basically blame on our own dumb luck and stupid incompetence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was a deep desire in humanity, I guess there still is. But back in the day, this is what we blame that shit on. It must have been a little man living in our house that knocked shit over or made us drop the fucking biscuits or whatever it is we do. So let's talk about these three types of kobolds. Let's start with the
Remember when I burnt that sandwich?
Yeah, that was a kobold. Yeah.
Kobold,
Fuck, dude.
He bewitched me into not remembering that I put it in the oven.
Well, if it was a kobold, TJ, it would have almost certainly been a wood spirit kobold, first type, because they are the ones that are usually associated with household helpers. So if you've got a kobold in your house, it's likely one that came out of the woods somewhere.
Damn it.
Now, if you want one of these, TJ, they can be coaxed from their trees with offerings of honey or water. Although the kobold may take an instant liking to the petitioner, it's more likely to take several attempts to coax the kobold from its tree.
Oh, shit, dude.
So you got to show it that you're going to bring honey, several times.
Honey. You know what?
You gotta get that sweet honey up front.
You know what? All this fucking kobold, all this fucking bad luck happened when I fucking brought that fucking jar of honey into my house.
Well,
I bought some local honey.
There's probably a kobold living in a tree out in your backyard.
God damn
that
it.
saw you enjoying that honey and that you weren't sharing it. And now you're fucked.
God damn motherfucking kobolds, dude.
In order to facilitate the transaction, if you want to try and ingratiate yourself to this kobold and get back on his good side, you can take a portion of the tree that he lives in.
I don't know which one he's living in.
Well, I mean, you should know.
Right.
Go out there and you'll know.
Okay.
But you got to be careful you don't upset the residing kobold when you take, some bark off the tree or cut off a little limb. You can put that in your house, and it makes them feel more at home. They're more likely to come and move in with you if a little piece of their tree is in your house.
Makes sense.
You will know that your offerings have been answered when the branches of the tree that they live in fall at your feet. So if you're out, you'll be going out there one day, and a branch will fall right at your feet, and that's how you know that a kobold has said, yep, all right.
I'm with
It
you.
seems pretty easy to get a kobold then.
Yep.
I mean, branches falling, that happens pretty much every day almost.
That's what I'm saying. The kobold at that point will then follow you into your home and live in that house forever.
So what kind of stuff do they do?
So here's another little test you have to go through.
Okay.
When you first get a kobold,
Oh, shit.
the kobold will add dirt to your milk jugs and sawdust to the otherwise clean living quarters. This is a test. The kobold is testing the master of the house to see if he understands and knows that service is being offered. If the master is smart, he will leave the sawdust where it is and drink that dirty milk, signaling to the kobold that he accepts its help and will treat it with respect by sharing a portion of his nightly supper. From then on, the kobold will serve the master's family until the last of his line dies off or is otherwise insulted.
Damn. See,
So-
I didn't get I didn't see the sawdust, although Chelsea might have cleaned it up.
which huge
Might have
mistake.
pissed it off.
Damn it, TJ.
I didn't see the dirty milk either, but I mean, I could have just missed that. I can be kind of
You
unobservant.
could have had a fucking cold board for this fucking family, TJ. It would have served us until the end of fucking time. And what do you fucking do? You clean up the sawdust.
I don't know. I didn't clean it up. Maybe Chelsea cleaned
I think
it up.
you cleaned it
Well,
up,
you definitely
TJ.
didn't share your honey. So now you know how to fix this.
I just have to share the honey.
You got to go find the tree that this little motherfucker is living in and give it some of that honey and do it over and over again and bring some of that tree in here.
All right.
Otherwise, you're fucked. The second type of kobolds are the subterranean kobolds.
They sound spooky.
They're similar to wood kobolds, but instead of living solitary lives, they live in communities or, in some cases, entire kingdoms. So depending on the underground space, you might run into a kingdom of these little motherfuckers, whereas the wood kobolds usually live alone in the tree.
Right. They're more solitary.
This is where their ability to turn invisible comes really handy, because they can disappear if someone ventures into their domain and that they do not want to associate with. They can just simply poof out of existence. Yep.
Gone.
Unlike wood kobolds, if a mine kobold takes a liking to a human that travels into their domain, they will follow them home, often remaining invisible for the journey. They will then take up residence in the house and help with chores, and in other ways, sometimes using their magic in beneficial manners. In the mines, they are known to lead miners to good veins by knocking. So if you're down in the mines, you're not going to get any of the house work done, but they'll lead you in the right direction down in the mine. They knock on the wall where the good veins are.
They're like, this is where the gold is, stupid.
And the more knocks you hear, the better the vein. So, you know what I mean? If you hear like 8 or 10 knocks down there, you better start digging, because they're telling you there's you got a good kobold following
It's great to think that like people actually believe this shit. And there was actually miners down there like listening for knocks and shit.
yeah.
Like, I think I hear some knocks coming this way.
Yep.
Kobolds are leading. This is where the gold is, sonny.
Mine kobolds can vary from being beneficial to harmful, so I guess it depends on whether they like you or not.
So sometimes they can be little pricks.
Yeah, they're blamed for causing mining accidents, replacing good ore with worthless or even poisonous ore, and causing all manner of trouble for miners that they see as invaders and thieves. So I guess if you're not respectful enough when you go down into these mines or caves or whatever looking for gold, you're in a bad way.
So basically, like, man, these kobolds, they can make or break your ass depending on how you treat them.
Yep. The subterranean kobolds are probably the least friendly of the kobolds. Legends say that they are more interested in what they find than anything else and are generally indifferent towards humans. Nevertheless, stories of the mining kobolds were once so embedded within the human consciousness that miners decided to name the ore cobalt after them.
I see.
Because they blamed the kobold for the poisonous and troublesome nature of the typical arsenical ore of this metal.
You have to love that, man. You have to love how humans can take all the responsibility off themselves, off the fact they don't understand what the fuck they're doing, and say it's a little fucking fairy that caused us. You know why those fucking miners suffocated? Pissed off a kobold.
Yep. They must have been down there cussing.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a nice, ready-made excuse.
And this is the most feared of the three
That
types
was like
of
a
the kobold.
badass, dude.
Yeah, he looks like the fucking yeah, he doesn't
Like, you're on the ship and you see this, you're like, fuck this, dude, I'm done.
I'd be like going back under the I'd be like, okay.
Go below deck, dude.
This is the Klabooterman, or the the open sea kobold. These kobolds are most often recorded by the people of northern Germany and the Netherlands, signifying that they may have been inspired by the previous two factions and lumped in with the kobolds due to physical and task similarities. This group is similar to the household spirit, described as offering protection and services to the captain and crew of a merchant or pirate ship. These creatures have been recorded as helping prevent the ship that they are on from sinking. However, if the ship does sink, the kobold flees for its life, leaving the humans behind to fend for themselves.
Well, that's only fair. I don't think that humans are worried about the kobold at that point either.
Like if you manage to fuck up enough where you sunk your own ship, you don't look to the kobold to help you. He's gone.
Yeah, he's like, I'm out of here.
It's said because of this that sightings of a kobold came to be seen as a bad omen. It was said that if a ship's captain sees one before leaving the dock, he's certainly better off remaining on land than tempting his fate in the waters.
So even though they can be helpful, it's more like on the give and take, they're more take. So
Right.
if you see one, you better just like, this voyage is doomed. I ain't doing it.
And I think that comes with the flighty nature of the kobold, like they do offer help, but if you might step on the kobold's toe in some way you didn't realize, and then it's going to sink your fucking ship.
Dude.
It's no longer just making your milk go bad overnight or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're fucked at that point.
You're going to the bottom.
I just love how superstitious you can really just demonstrate how people were. I mean, obviously still superstitious, but it's just interesting to see that. Where it's like, because you're a captain of these ships, all you have to say is like, I saw a kobold. Can't go out.
Yep. So let's talk a little bit, now that we've learned about the 3 types of kobolds, about the temperament and powers of these little things.
Power of the kobold.
We've already learned a little bit about what they're capable of, but let's talk a little more.
We know they
in
can
depth.
turn invisible.
Yep.
Shapeshift.
So as I said, for the most part, kobolds seem to like helping humans as long as that help is appreciated. However, if they become offended, ignored, or outright asked to leave, their mood turns from friendly to foul.
Very temperamental creatures.
So to keep these little shits happy, they should receive regular offerings to show that their help is appreciated. When they do not, they become angry. Asking a kobold to leave creates a similar offense because it also indicates that their help is not appreciated. So you gotta, even after you've enticed it out of the tree, you gotta continue giving it honey and shit. You gotta show it that you appreciate that it sweeps up after you and keeps you from dying.
I mean, that's pretty reasonable, don't you think?
Yep.
I mean, all it wants to be appreciated. It's going to fucking help you survive. It's going to clean up your fucking house. It just wants a little honey.
So when you do make the fucking
Commitment.
mistake of angering or offending a kobold, all the help that they were providing will reverse.
So they become, as helpful as they were, they become harmful.
Right. So an example would be that if they used to turn the milk into butter during the night, now they'll cause the milk to sour for no reason. They might pull a thatch from your roof at night, causing a need for repairs. On ships, they might tangle the ropes or the sails or distract the crew with laughter and jeers. In mines, the beneficial kobolds will take on the traits of the evil kobolds described above. And this says, although not as vicious or deadly. However, tales of the dangers associated with insulting a kobold eventually led to the spirits being considered ill omens pretty much in totality. People just didn't want to have these.
Right, because, I mean, like, it sounds kind of appealing at first.
Right.
But then as you really think about it, it's like, nah.
TJ, you know what? I think we actually need this bag in society. So people they want something to blame, just like, look, these little fairies just did it.
Yep.
I mean, think about it. It just solves the problem. You don't have to actually blame a real group. You just blame these imaginary creatures.
Yeah, because now we're just all blaming each other. Wouldn't it be better if we just put all of our aggression towards these invisible...
These people had shit figured out.
We people that are out there fucking with us.
If you fucked up at your job, it's not like I fucked up. It's all like the fucking little spirit fucked me up.
Right. There's a story by folklorist Thomas Knightley, and he describes a kobold named Hodekin. Hodekin was insulted by a kitchen boy, and the head cook refused to punish the boy. In the dead of night, Hodekin beat the boy and tore him limb from limb and added him to the pot of food that was cooking on the hearth. So lest you think you're just going to get some sour milk out of this deal.
Yeah, they could go much further.
This little motherfucker will rip you apart. Now, the cook was then killed for chastising the kobold's behavior. So the cook was like, hey, kobold, you shouldn't have killed that cooking boy. He got himself killed for that.
Fair enough, man.
They're not uncommon, apparently, in kobold stories to hear this type of violence being perpetrated.
So it's not just like harmless trickster shit. They will like rip you apart. They will torture you. They will fucking visit horrible, ironic punishments upon you.
Yep.
I mean, that's the bargain you struck when you had one of these things, dude.
So let's talk a little bit. Let's kind of recap the powers of the kobold now that we've learned a little bit about what having one is like. So we learned early on, remember, that they can shapeshift.
Yeah.
So they can be anything in the world. They can look like pretty much anything.
They can be invisible.
They can be invisible.
That tracks because I've never seen one.
And implied is either supernatural quickness or teleportation, because they can be anywhere in the house, anywhere they want to be. They can move around, either super fast to the point where we can't see them.
So they're pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah. I mean, they're like little deities. They're like little house level deities almost.
Right. So because if they can become anything. And they can cloak themselves from you, and even if you do know where one is, it can teleport instantly away to a safer spot.
Yep.
So there's really pretty much no way that a human being can fucking defeat one of these.
No.
Not that I was able to find.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
I was not able to find a single instance of somebody getting one over on a kobold. Now, that is not true for our next wee folk that we're going to learn about. This is another kobold. This is actually the story of Hodekin. So this is
Hodekin. This is
he's getting ready to throw that cooking boy in the pot.
Damn, he's a brutal motherfucker. Oh, this guy.
Yep, we're going to talk about leprechauns now. Because, when I first learned that kobolds were just basically the same thing as everything else, I was worried that leprechauns were lumped into that. But leprechauns are their own distinct entities. They are not like kobolds in a lot of ways.
We know that the one thing about it is I didn't hear anything in that kobold thing about them, like, hoarding shit.
Right. They're, kobolds don't seem... Well, I mean, I guess maybe the mine
mine
kobolds.
ones, but the leprechaun is really like, he wants his gold, you know?
They definitely have their own distinct personalities that come with being leprechauns. So, as we know, leprechauns are often described as wizened, bearded old men dressed in green. This green thing is a rather modern interpretation, though. The earlier versions of leprechauns were clad all in red.
I don't like it.
Yeah. They wear buckled shoes, often with a leather apron. Sometimes they wear a pointed cap or hat, and they may be smoking a pipe.
Cool.
We know all this stuff about leprechauns, and it turns out a lot of those tropes that remain still pretty true.
You know what's really weird about leprechauns?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, maybe you discovered otherwise in your research, but, like, have you ever even, like, seen a single depiction of a female leprechaun?
No, and we will get into that.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So in their book, The Element Encyclopedia of Magical Creatures, John and Caitlin Matthews trace leprechaun legends back to 8th century legends. So these are even older than kobold legends, which started popping up around the 13th century.
Okay.
The 8th century legends of water spirits called lurchapon.
Lurchapon.
Which means small body. These sprites eventually merged with a mischievous household fairy said to haunt cellars and drink heavily.
Cool.
So a couple of different types of little person kind of melded together into the modern idea of a leprechaun.
I like it. I like the fact that they fucking drink heavily.
Yep.
I mean, that's perfect for Ireland too. You know.
Right. Other researchers say that the word leprechaun may have been derived from the Irish leith brogan, meaning shoemaker. Now, this is something that I remember learning about leprechauns, but it's not something I think about as much. They're known for making shoes.
Oh, yeah.
They're known for being cobblers, and I remember learning that as a little kid, but it's not something you see talked about a whole lot with leprechauns in the modern day.
Usually you see it like the rainbow and the pot of gold and the outfit.
Right. Indeed, though, leprechauns are often associated with riches or gold. In folklore, their main vocation is anything but glamorous. They're humble cobblers or shoemakers. Shoemaking is apparently a lucrative business in the fairy world, since each leprechaun is said to have his own pot of gold, which can often be found at the end of a rainbow. So all of that stuff is found in the older legends. So we know that these guys have their riches and shit.
Pretty enduring myth too.
Yeah. So according to Irish legends, people lucky enough to find a leprechaun and capture him, or in some stories steal his magical ring, coin, or amulet, can barter his freedom for his treasure. Leprechauns are usually said to be able to grant the person, in addition to that, 3 wishes. So that makes them a pretty powerful being indeed.
Right.
But dealing with leprechauns can be a very tricky proposition. So just like the kobolds, you can go out and try and find these little things, and if you can get one over on them, you might get your fucking 3 wishes and your pot of gold, but
As a catch, huh?
you got to watch your back.
So they kind of do some Wishmaster shit, huh?
Of course.
Oh, okay.
Medieval Irish manuscripts from the 12th and 15th centuries, believed to be associated with leprechauns, suggest that leprechauns were originally beings that thrived underwater and, contrary to today's depiction, they weren't all male. They were depicted as warriors with voracious appetites, and the female leprechauns were especially engrossed with luring away human men for secret adventures.
Ooh.
Damn.
And I looked into it, and there's not a lot of information about these, them being a very early prototypical leprechaun.
Right.
But there were some researchers that said that the female leprechauns were in some way magically particularly enticing to males sexually.
Yeah.
So they were kind of like mermaids, you know?
Yeah, like sirens or something.
They lived underwater, and they'd come out of the water and entice men, you know, to their doom, basically. So these characteristics actually seem to kind of stick around in leprechaun mythology until the aforementioned writing that we talked about in 1604. So for a long time, they were like little sea sprites that would entice you away.
Yeah, because, I mean, at this point, any association with water is kind of like, I guess other than the rainbow.
Another kind of like nod towards leprechauns being kind of attractive is that they were thought to be particularly stylish. So both Samuel Lover, writing in 1831, and William Butler Yeats in 1888, made mention of the importance leprechauns placed on their appearance. Lover wrote that the leprechaun was quite a beau in his dress, notwithstanding, for he wears a red square-cut coat, richly laced with gold, waistcoat, and inexpressible of the same, cocked hat, shoes, and buckles.
Dude, the leprechaun sounds like a pimp, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not just like some like a lot of movies that they make him look like a shaggy fucking not shabby guy.
Yeah.
A little fucking like he's covered in dirt and shit. Like the
No.
leprechaun would be suave, almost like a James Bond or something.
Yeah.
P-I-M-P.
They were
He
dressed
comes
to the
out.
nines. Yeats later added that he's something of a dandy, dresses in a red coat with 7 rows of buttons, 7 buttons on each row, wears a cocked hat, upon whose pointed end he is wont in the northeastern countries, according to McAnally, to spin like a top when the fit sees him. So he wears a hat that he can reach up there and spin on his head.
Cool.
So dapper, you know what I mean? Which is kind of, I guess it's not something I've really thought of leprechauns as, but
They do usually have a pretty neat wardrobe.
right.
You know, I mean, like compared to like, a lot of mythical creatures either don't wear clothes or if they do, they're kind of shabby. You know,
Right.
but the leprechaun, they're a fucking expert. They're tailors, they're shoemakers.
Nah, dude.
They got money.
They've never been done justice, TJ. It's like, yeah, they have a little green outfit. Nah, the shoes kind of look nice, dude. No. We need some fucking flashy-ass leprechauns, dude.
And you guys might not have known this, but just like the kobolds, there are different types of leprechaun. In fact, there are at
Whoa.
least 2. The one that we've been talking about, the kind of general leprechaun that has the hoard of gold and is very solitary, and another type of leprechaun. So early leprechauns were described as sly old men, wore red suits, are often found working on a solitary shoe. The word solitary was also applied to the social preferences of leprechauns, who seem to prefer time alone to interacting with other fairy creatures or even other leprechauns.
So they're not super social.
No. Their friendless nature perhaps was also partly due to others avoiding them. Early leprechauns were also thought to be particularly mischievous, house-haunting drunkards. These characteristics were later passed on to the leprechaun's cousins, the Clobhair Sion or Clurichon, an Irish fairy that is always drunk and rude. So
Oh my
basically
God,
a
I
TJ
love them.
fairy.
Yeah, I
what
love
the
them.
fuck, dude?
I love them.
The Clurichon got
Dude,
his
I'm
name.
gonna go get myself an alcoholic beverage in honor of of this, dude.
Dude, TJ, your sobriety is so tenuous at any given time, isn't it?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, really. Hey, you know what? This thing's cool in the episode. You
Hey,
know what? Why
it
not have
drinks,
a fucking drink?
I'm gonna drink.
So the Clurichon is a mythological first cousin to the leprechaun, meaning that they're often compared to and even confused with one another. And as we'll learn here pretty shortly, that can be a nasty proposition. If you mistake a leprechaun for a Clurichon or vice versa, you're not in a good way. So Clurichons and the stories about them are most often found in Munster, Ireland's southern province. More specifically, however, they are found in wine cellars. So if you were to leave your drink store unlocked, unattended, and unbarred, you would soon find it dry if there was a Clurichon about. So they were kind of house invaders too, but specifically to steal your fucking booze.
Dude,
Like
I just like, it's like, you can just imagine the guys, like, kids stealing all the booze for their buddies to party, and it's like, what happened? Oh, Claritron came. You
Yep.
know, I mean, fuck.
Sorry, man. Bring your own beer. I got a Clurichon up in here. It sounds like an excuse for being a fucking alcoholic, honestly.
Yeah.
Your wife finds all the fucking wine jugs empty, and you're like, no, we must have a Clurichon. It wasn't me, Annabelle. It was the
That's what I'm
Clurichon.
saying. Back in the day, people had all these excuses, and they were plausible, man.
Right.
Now you just have to admit you're an alcoholic and go to fucking horrible meetings.
So with that in mind, here are a few do's and don'ts when you feel like you're dealing with a Clurichon. So if you think you've got a Clurichon, there's definitely some fucking rules to be followed.
All right.
Okay, the number one rule that I could find was you have to double check whether it's a Clurichon or a leprechaun.
Shit. That's important.
A leprechaun would be very insulted if he were accused to be one of his drunken cousins. A Clurichon, however, is easily differentiated by his attitude and his fashion sense. They favor reds and plums over the earth tones of their leprechaun counterparts, and they have the attitude of a ragged fop rather than an honest worker. So they also tend towards having healthy doses of facial hair, whereas the typical leprechaun is clean
But
shaven.
what if a Clarichon has more of the style of a leprechaun, and you see him in your fucking wine cellar, and you accost them? I mean,
You better make sure. Like, you need to make sure, because if you call a leprechaun a Clarichon,
Oh shit.
you're fucked.
That's
Now,
not. They don't like that.
I guess the one I could find the most is leprechauns are almost always clean shaven,
okay, well there you go.
and Clarichons are almost always sporting some kind of long facial hair. So if
Awesome.
this
Almost
picture that we
always,
have
though.
up there is definitely a Clarichon. If you can go to the next one there, TJ.
Yes, absolutely.
Here's
I like it.
he's awesome, isn't he?
Yeah.
Another don't here. So we had a do. Make
Okay.
sure that you figure out that it's a Clarichon and not a leprechaun.
Don't fucking even say it. Don't even guess until you know for sure.
Here's a don't for dealing with a Clarichon.
All right, don't do it.
Take your eyes off him. One of the reasons they are confused with the leprechaun is that they share the same trait of disappearing if you look away even for an instant. The difference is, though, is that where a leprechaun will simply vanish, a Clarichon will vanish and take your wine and beer with
Oh
it.
hell no.
So once you see that you've got a Clarichon down in your cellar, you keep an eye on that little motherfucker, because if you blink, he's gone with your booze.
Oh hell no. I ain't putting up with that.
But here's how you keep a Clarichon. Here's a do. You got to listen to his stories.
So wait, why do you want to keep it?
Well, because you don't want it to fucking disappear with all your booze.
Oh, okay.
It's basically kind of like the same thing as the little house invading kobold. You know what I mean? He comes, and if you see him, you can sit and listen to his stories and have a drinking buddy. But if you take your eye off of him, he's taking all your shit.
Oh fuck. Okay.
So you should, here's a do. Listen to his stories. Clarichons are fabulous wordsmiths, and they love nothing more than sharing a drop of whiskey with a friendly ear in exchange for their wonderful tale. I'm basically a Clarichon. You better listen to all my fucking crazy stories, TJ.
All right.
Look at, I got.
Tell me a crazy story.
I
Dun, dun, dun,
wait
dun,
a minute.
dun,
Did you
dun.
just tell me what to do?
Story
Oh,
time
shit,
with
dude.
Paul?
All your booze is gone, matey.
No, it's not.
Yep, I'm taking it
Don't
with me
offend
today.
a
Let's see.
Clarichon.
We'll see.
Be careful though, as their constitution is
this.
such.
Let's see you take it.
I don't want that. That's not booze.
It is.
Oh, whatever.
It is booze.
It's not the kind of booze I want.
Mountain Dew.
Oh yeah. It's Mountain Dew mixed with fucking Fireball whiskey.
How gross.
Oh, what the fuck, TJ? Let me taste that shit.
That's fucking disgusting.
See if it's any good.
All right, you do it. Do it.
And let me see this shit. See, TJ, I told you I'd
Fucking
take your
gross,
fucking booze.
dude. What the fuck, TJ?
I like it.
I told you I'd take your fucking booze, TJ. This is staying right here in front of me.
Boo. Boo.
How long did that take me? I'm a Clarichon, bitch.
I just proved it.
How long did it take me to get your booze? Not long. Son of a bitch.
Scotty was the instrument of my destruction, dude.
That's great, dude.
So, all right, you can pass this back to TJ. I'll be a nice Clarichon today.
Yeah,
But
you made your point.
Here's your next rule, TJ. Don't
rule.
anger a Clarichon. They may be small, but they can be fierce. The cheery and laid-back attitude makes them slow to anger, but once they're angry, the vindictive fury can be terrifying to behold.
I mean, that seems fair because, like, if they're slow to anger, then you really got to fuck up. It's not like the fucking Klabuchin or whatever the fuck the
Right.
first one was, where it's like, you know, the fucking second you do one little step, one little toe out of line, they're pissed.
Right.
Like, you really got to fucking piss this thing off. You know?
This guy is willing to let it roll off his back to a point.
To a point, man. Like, he has some
I
tolerance.
mean, every fucking.
And I'm sure he gives you a little signal that, like, you know, you're starting to piss
everyone
me off.
has a limit. I mean, even a Clarichon, dude. They're gonna have a limit where it's like, you know what? I've had enough of your shit, dude.
So what do they do if they're pissed? Do they rip you apart like the fucking
Well,
kobolds or whatever?
here's some shit that they will do to you if they're pissed at you. They can turn your milk
Kobolds.
sour. That's a common one. We saw the kobolds do that as well.
Yeah, they like to do that.
They can stop your hens from laying, which you can imagine is a
Fuck.
I mean,
fucking
yeah.
bad deal.
So, I mean, like, what would be the modern equivalent? Like, every time I go to the store, they're just out of eggs or something?
They're out of everything you need.
Yeah, I gotcha.
They can cause your family and household to come down with a pox.
That doesn't sound good.
Fuck.
So, yeah, you're all sick now.
Yeah, you have smallpox.
They
Enjoy
can do the
that.
same thing to your cattle, so they can make your cows sick. They can make your sheep break out of their pens. They basically remove your ability to support yourself.
Right, so they try to financially destroy you
Right.
at that point.
And if you push them far enough, they will beat you so badly that you will be bedridden for 3 weeks.
Wow,
Damn.
for exactly 3 weeks.
Yep.
That's badass because it knows just how to beat you.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
When
like,
you're bedridden for
so
3
not
weeks.
not only does that imply that they can beat your ass, but they know exactly how fucking much of an ass beating it will take.
It's
to
a
get you to
surgical
that
ass
level.
beating.
Yeah,
You're
like
getting
they're
a
masters
literal
of the
surgical
ass beating.
ass beating. They are going to beat you just enough to where your ass isn't going to be able to get out of bed for 3 weeks.
Man, we're lucky that we don't piss these off more.
Yeah. Well, you better start treating me better, TJ. 'Cause
All right.
I'm telling you, I'm reaching my limit, laddie.
I mean, you seem kind of big for a Clurachon.
Is that a fat
dude.
joke?
No, I'm just saying it's a tall joke.
Oh, that's the straw that broke the camel's back, you foul creature.
God damn it.
Now I'm going to beat you so badly you won't move for 3 weeks. You've tempted the Clarichon.
I
didn't
look
mean
forward
to. I'm
to
sorry.
seeing this.
All I wanted to do was sit around and tell you stories, TJ.
I didn't mean to,
And you
man.
insult my
Please.
weight.
I'm not trying to insult your weight. I was really not.
Too
It's a
late, man.
misunderstanding.
It's too late, TJ.
Please don't.
Should have thought about that.
I don't need this.
So we've learned some stuff about leprechauns. Let's talk a little bit about their temperament and their powers.
Okay.
Let's wrap it up here with the leprechaun. So according to some legends, a leprechaun carries 2 leather pouches. He has a silver shilling in one, which returns to his pouch whenever it's been given. So that's a tricky little
Damn,
thing.
that's nice.
So
dude.
don't accept the silver coin because
Right.
it's going away.
The other pouch has a gold coin, which is said to turn into leaves or ashes once the leprechaun is set free. So it's another way of tricking you. He's like, "Oh, I'll give you this gold coin if you let me go." And you're like, "Oh, a gold coin, I'll take that." And then he, ha, 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 and you got a handful of fucking dry leaves.
Fuck.
What a little
awesome.
asshole.
Dude, these guys are fucking awesome.
Another widespread interpretation of events after humans find and catch leprechauns is the offering of 3 wishes, to which the capturer goes insane or is tricked as his wishes backfire.
Right.
So there's a popular story about a guy named Seamus. So Seamus was a man from County Mayo who caught a leprechaun and was offered wishes. He chose to be the richest man on a tropical island, which is a dumb wish. His wish was said to have come true, but there was a catch. There were no pubs or shops or anywhere to spend anything on the island. So eventually he got bored and wished himself back to Ireland, so he had to waste his last wish.
that is a dumb wish, to be fair.
Yep. Pretty much all of the stories that you find about this present the same morals, so they're all kind of morality tales.
Right.
It's getting rich quick doesn't work out in the long run. Stealing is wrong, and don't mess with the Irish fairy.
Let me ask you this: is there like an indication of like what the power level of these wishes are? Like,
he was able to move this dude and give him all this gold and shit to a fucking
Right.
tropical island. It
but like,
seems
if you wish
they're-
for like world peace or something, that would probably be beyond the leprechaun.
I wasn't able to find any old stories about people making these grandiose wishes. Maybe it's reflective of people having a much more local mindset back in the day. you
Right.
know? Because usually it seems like it's based on, I want my crops to be good this year, or I want to be rich, or I want to be famous, or,
Yeah.
But there's no indication that they couldn't grant a certain type of wish either.
Okay.
So, you have to imply they're at least genies in their power level.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? If you wish for it, it says they can fucking grant it. So let's talk about their powers. Wish granting, we're talking about that now. They're very enticing. That comes up over and over again. So even though you're supposed to leave them alone, people are kind of supernaturally drawn to them in all their many and varied forms. They're supernaturally quick, and they're supernaturally devious.
Cool.
So this is not a combination of powers that I would take lightly.
No. Leprechauns are serious business. Like, we as humans, I think we tend to underestimate things that are smaller than us.
Which is maybe why they choose to appear to us in this way.
Right. So, I mean, like, but when you really, like, think about the power set of some of these motherfuckers, they're really not to be taken lightly.
I mean, look at this little dude in front of us, man. He's holding a glass of whiskey. He's holding a bottle of whiskey. He's smoking his pipe, and he's winking at you.
I mean,
He
we
just-
all laugh.
He just knows. He knows what the fuck is going on.
Think about the enticing nature of these things. We all laughed when this came up, and I bet we all had the same thought. I want to sit and have a drink with this little motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that just goes to show you. You should stay far away from these little fucks.
But he is enticing.
So let's take a break from
Speaking of enticing.
more ancient mythology, and let's talk about a little bit more modern mythology, because there's kind of a newer member to the wee folk here.
Yeah.
Our wonderful Oompa Loompas. TJ, can you summon the Oompa Loompas? Thank you. That sound should spell immediate fear in your heart. And if it doesn't, you don't know enough about Oompa Loompas. So the Oompa Loompas feature in 2 of Roald Dahl's stories, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which has since been adapted into 2 films, only one of which will we even bother talking about, an opera, and a stage musical, and the second book was Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator.
And a fucking slot machine that does not pay out.
Is there an Oompa Loompa slot machine?
There is a Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory slot machine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I have played it at various casinos in various parts of the country. And I got to say, it is pretty much the stingiest fucking slot machine everywhere I've ever gone.
So we get a little information about Oompa Loompas.
Which is kind of appropriate, honestly.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you're dumb for sitting down in an Oompa Loompa machine if you think it's going to give you a bunch of money.
It's not.
The Oompa Loompas, as we've learned kind of from the movies and the books, they're from Loompa Land, which Mr. Wonka describes as a terrible place. Nothing but thick jungles infested by the most dangerous beast in the world, hornswogglers, snozwangers, and those terrible, wicked wangdoodles. He tells Charlie Bucket and the other golden ticket winners about all of these horrible things. So
I like them.
But you got to imagine, if you're a wee person from a place like that, you're going to be hard as a coffin nail. I mean, you're growing up, you're literally your whole life is scrabbling around running from snozwangers and wangdoodles.
Yeah, dude.
Loompa Land is such a terrible place that when Mr. Wonka invited the Oompa Loompas to come back to his chocolate factory, they leapt at the chance, of course. And now they live and work there, helping Mr. Wonka with his experiments and generally keeping the chocolate factory going.
Right. I mean, they're pretty much the sole reason that factory is able to operate because Wonka doesn't trust humans.
Right.
You know?
Rightfully so. And these Oompa Loompas, and you got to think about it, too. He's making some crazy shit in there. So they're technically proficient.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're able to run this insane fantasy chocolate factory with complete precision and exacting science. So these are not, they're not empty-headed little beings.
No, these are intelligent creatures.
Oh, no, dude. They very clearly are very devious as well.
Dude, that old Oompa Loompa just on top of fucking Wonka's hat is creeping me the fuck out.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I think
Look at him.
the Oompa Loompas, honestly, I think engineer the downfall of all these kids, man. It's hard to argue.
It is definitely hard to argue. As we know, the Oompa Loompas do enjoy singing and dancing. They're always making up
God,
songs.
yeah.
I mean, think about this, dude. Like, every time something goes bad in that movie, they come out and have a fucking song, dude. They already have a dance number and all that shit prepared. I mean, how the fuck do you have that? Unless you're, at least somewhat involved in the planning of it.
It's an insane power. It's an insane power for them to have, and it implies that they're definitely more than just little humans. Their favorite food is the cacao bean, central ingredient in a bar of chocolate. And in the Wonka factory, they have access to as many cacao beans as they could possibly wish for.
It's like paradise to them.
Yep. In the original book, an Oompa Loompa is described as a tiny person with funny long hair. The iconic visual representation of them having orange skin and green hair, and in my mind, this is the canon.
Definitive canon interpretation of what an
100%,
Oompa Loompa
dude.
looks
Yes.
like is this movie's interpretation.
Right. But yeah, when you say Oompa Loompa, most people think of this from the
that's
1971
instantly what
movie.
I think of. I'm not thinking of that one dude from the remake. I'm not thinking of the illustrations from the Roald Dahl books. I'm thinking about these motherfuckers right here.
So, unfortunately, the Oompa Loompas and their existence have a dark history. And I say dark, and I mean that literally.
Literally
Whoa.
dark.
I'm not going to beat around the bush here. The Oompa Loompas were originally black slaves. Yep. In the original book, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Roald Dahl, Wonka got his workers from the very deepest and darkest part of the African jungle where no white man had been before. The slaves were very happy with their new work, and they lived on a diet of chocolate. So
Yeah, slaves.
I don't know if you knew that about the Oompa Loompas, but they didn't start as the
They're orange.
nope.
They're orange.
They started
men
off as like
with green hair.
pygmy black people
Yep.
who were slaves and happy
Nope.
to work for a bar of chocolate.
No, they're this. They're this.
Yeah,
here.
they're that. Yeah,
This is what they
Let's
are.
just rewrite history. They've always been that. This, not so much.
So the book was published in the United States in 1964, and it wasn't until 1972 when an American writer, Eleanor Cameron, wrote about the racist attributes of the story. After much debate between Cameron and Dahl, Dahl's publishers decided that to those growing up in a racially mixed society, the Oompa Loompas were no longer acceptable as written. The following year, to accompany its new sequel, Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, a revised edition of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory appeared, in which the Oompa Loompas had become dwarfish hippies with long golden brown hair and rosy white skin. But
There's some more black ones.
yeah, there's that.
So here's the new.
Yep.
No.
So in order to not offend anybody, this was the redesign of the Oompa Loompa.
Oops.
Yeah, not a great redesign.
It doesn't really work, does it?
No, it really doesn't.
I do not. This is not even close. Wow.
So, luckily for us, the Oompa Loompas are very open about what they like and don't like. They have a very
yeah, they like openly sing about their value system on a frequent basis. So.
Right. So the Oompa Loompas, they have a very simple set of beliefs and powers, and they summarize them in just 5 rules. So here you go. Here are the Oompa Loompa rules.
All right, let's see how they hold up.
Rule number 1, care about the people who care about you.
That seems reasonable.
Rule number 2, don't care about people who don't care about you.
I also like that.
Yeah, I'm good.
Number 3, share your cacao beans with those who would share them with you.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Number 4, do not share your cacao beans with those who would not share them with you. Seems like a good way.
I'm down with that,
general
yeah.
principle, yeah.
And number 5, if someone fucks with you, throw them into a vat of boiling chocolate, turn them into a blueberry, toss them down a garbage chute, shrink them with a television, or do the worst thing of all, give them exactly what they want, and then write a special song just for them.
That seems good.
So it's a little brutal there at the end.
You know
The first
what?
4 seem very reasonable, and then the 5th one, it does go a little far,
It's a
but
little draconian.
sometimes you need that little
No.
extra spice, man.
Not draconian at all, guys. Look, the Oompa Loompas have a different value system, and we have to accept that, you know what? They're a little different. And, we can't just judge them relative to our moral values. They have a different system in place. You know what you did? The Oompa Loompas seem to be doing just fine.
I didn't criticize.
Sounded like you were, TJ.
So
I wasn't, man. I
we've-
wasn't.
We've learned a little bit about the temperament of these little Oompa Loompas. Let's talk a little bit about their powers. And I think chief among their powers is their ability to come up with the sickest burns right on the spot.
Gee, fuck yeah, dude.
And because this is a patrons-only episode, I pulled my favorite of the sick burns
And
from the original.
not only that, I just want to point out that these motherfuckers, they wait until you're at your fucking lowest moment before they fucking pwn you with this shit.
I mean,
Right.
as they should.
It's the sickest, there's no comeback to these burns. So let's listen to how badly they burned Augustus Gloop.
it doesn't matter who you are. You could be fucking Eminem or something in a rap battle. And
Oh,
these
it's over.
These motherfuckers are coming to take your ass. I'm talking in his prime, too.
Oh, yeah. It's over for you.
They don't even stop working to sing it either.
Nope.
Oh, man, you know what? You know why, TJ?
What?
They're fixing the fucking river while they do it, man. They're so efficient. You come up with a song like this, beautiful fucking diss.
I don't like the look of it.
Whatever, fat phobic little fucking midgets.
You better listen, TJ.
I ain't listening. I mean, really, they are trying to help you out, though.
Yep.
They say right there, you can live in happiness if you fucking, just listen to our fucking rules.
So-
We know what's what. You motherfuckers
They
don't.
figured it out, man. They fucking figured it out, TJ. And that's what we need to listen to, man.
I got to tell you guys, of all the powers that we've talked about the wee folk having tonight, this one scares me the most. Because you know what? I would rather be torn limb from limb and thrown into a fucking cooking pot than get roasted this bad.
Yeah.
By a bunch of fucking orange-faced little dwarves. I can't imagine. What would you say? How would Augustus Gloop have recovered from this song?
Yeah,
There's no way.
is there a rebuttal song?
No. And the most beautiful thing about it is, then they're gone. What are you going to yell at their backs? Hey, come back. I got a fucking diss.
Yeah. They
they're
don't
done.
even hang around for the rebuttal because they
don't
know
they don't give a fuck.
they've literally roasted you to oblivion, and then they just go on about their business. It's just part of their day.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, should have learned your lesson, fatty.
So
Bye.
it'd be one thing if they pwned you and then celebrated endlessly or some shit.
No, they just walk. They're just like, all right, we're
It's like
done.
nothing to them.
They walk away.
It was literally no harder than pouring that fucking sugar into the fucking lake real quick. That was all it was. And you have just Augustus Gloop for the rest of his life, all you'd have to do to pwn him is just start singing that song again. You know what I mean?
Oompa loompa doompa tee doo.
I've never been pwned so hard that, there's no comeback from it. And Oompa Loompas just do that. They're also great songwriters, which is a power that shouldn't be underappreciated and obviously works together with their ponage capabilities because, why don't people do that more often? When people are trying to, own each other, you know what I mean? Why don't they write little ditties about how stupid and empty-headed their opponents are? I guess we're just not built like Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, we don't have their. I mean, like if we had the power to be Oompa Loompas, we obviously would be.
Yeah,
but we don't.
They're also expert chocolate factory mechanics. So
Probably excellent mechanics in general.
Right. Being able to work all those crazy machines and presumably help Willy Wonka develop and invent them, implies an intellect, which also feeds into their ability to pwn you. They're just smarter than you are.
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, they're
like a bunch of early season Tyrians, dude.
They really are. They're utterly pitiless executioners. When it's time for you to be done, where do they show pity for any of these people? Got a little boy stuck in a pipe filled with chocolate drowning, and they're just like, well, oompa loompa doompa dee doo. We've got some other work to do. Violet's about to explode into a giant fucking mass of guts and blueberry, and they're just like, well, rolling your dumb bitch ass off to the juicing room.
Maybe you'll live, maybe you won't.
Yep.
No sweat off our balls either way.
So they have absolutely no pity,
right.
No remorse, no second guessing of their fucking,
Yeah, they don't question their value system. They're like, no, we know what's right and wrong. We're the fucking Oompa Loompas.
Clearly. So
we're blessed with moral
dude,
certainty.
We are fucking lucky as shit that Willy Wonka contained them in this factory. I don't know. I think humanity might be outcompeted if they were actually out there, like really going against us. I don't think we'd have much of a chance.
Yeah, we are very lucky.
They don't even believe in the spirit of competition. They're all about cooperation and shit.
Yep.
Dude, think about this, TJ. You start fucking with them, so let's say that they're actually getting some support. Like, well, we need to suppress the Oompa Loompas. They fucking just come out, make a speech. You make your fucking speech. They come out, they fucking destroy you. They diss you. The crowd just turns against you.
I think humanity needs an Oompa Loompa song.
We definitely like
a planetary.
We would be better people in general if every time we fucked each other over, these little dudes showed up and literally roasted us in front of everybody we know and love. You know what I mean? People would have way better incentives to be good people.
The Oompa Loompas are on the way. Oh fuck.
Yep. Dude, you think you're getting one over on one of your fellow men, and then you start hearing dun 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 dun. You're like, oh no.
Oompa Loompa Doompa Dee Din, trying to fuck your partners again.
Yep. Oh God. And it'd be good to have these around if you weren't that type of person. Because anytime somebody was trying to fuck
you'd
you
be
up,
like, hey, wait a minute.
Yep. There they were.
The Oompa Loompa song is playing. I know there's something nefarious going on now.
So that's our Oompa Loompas. We got one more to look at, and I tried to pick one that was generally just evil right off the top. Because a lot of these other ones have been mischief makers, and I think the Oompa Loompas are just, they're not evil.
It's like something you'd see on a metal album cover.
They're harsh, but they're not evil.
This is a boggart.
Boggart.
So boggart is one of numerous related terms used in English folklore for
this is just Paul as a baby, dude.
Yeah, this is how I came out looking. So it's either a household spirit or a malevolent genius loci, that is, geographically divine spirit. They inhabit fields, marshes, or other topographical features. Other names for this group include bug, bugbear, bogey, bogan, bogeyman, bogle, etc. So this is the source of the boogeyman.
Right. So the boogeyman's like a little wee thing.
Boggarts, yep.
Yeah.
The household form causes mischief, not unlike the kobolds, milk souring.
Man, they love to sour milk, these wee people, dude.
I mean, you got to imagine, back in the day, that was probably one of the worst things that could happen.
Right, because, you got milk, and you're like, now for a refreshing glass of... Oh, God damn it, no!
I mean, a lot of people were one, soured milk away from fucking utter starvation.
Right, it's like you're starving, and, that milk is, important nutrients in your diet. Next thing you know, fuck, the milk is spoiled.
As proof that these things are evil, they could cause your dogs to go lame. So talking about,
fuck.
I mean, you can fuck with me all you want, but you're gonna mess with my dog.
I mean, that's fucked up. That's like other level fucking.
Your dog's
dick
lame
shit.
now. How do you like that?
So the boggarts inhabiting marshes or holes in the ground are often attributed to more serious evil doing, not limited to the abduction of children.
Right.
So they'll go after your dog.
They'll
take
cripple your dog. They'll steal your kid.
Now, unlike the other kind of wee folk that we've talked about, boggarts are always malevolent.
Right. There's no flip side where it's like, but on the other hand, no, they're just pure pricks.
But you can't get away from them. The boggart, once you have one in your house, will follow your family wherever it goes. You can't get away.
Damn.
It's said that the boggart crawls into people's beds at night and puts a clammy hand on their faces.
Ew.
Think about what this little motherfucker is doing. It's laming your dog, stealing your children, touching you while you sleep.
Shoving a hand in your face like you're just trying to get some fucking rest. You got a fucking clammy ass fucking hand just pushing your fucking face into the goddamn pillow. Like, what the fuck, dude?
If you've ever had this done to you, you know how evil it is. Sometimes a boggart will strip the bed sheets off of you in the middle of your sleep.
So you're trying to sleep, especially on a cold night, I'm sure.
Just pull your fucking blanket down. Sometimes they'll pull on your ears. I guess.
That could be kind of nice, honestly.
Depends on how hard they're pulling.
Right.
Some tells me these are not going to give you a gentle ear
Yeah,
massage.
here.
Yeah.
A little tug on your ear, TJ.
Apparently, you can hang a horseshoe on the door of a house, and leaving a pile of salt outside of your bedroom can keep the boggart away.
So it doesn't like salt or horseshoes.
Right.
So at least it has some weaknesses.
But if you fuck up and you don't have the horseshoe or the salt out now, then you get a boggart. You can't get away from it.
So, like, what would the modern equivalent of a horseshoe be? Like a car, like a rim or something? You hang that? Or does it have to be a horseshoe?
Horseshoe, TJ. Come on, dude.
All right.
Now, there's a little bit of a tie-in with kobolds here because I guess in some traditions it's believed that the kobolds or brownies could actually turned into boggarts if you offended them.
So basically the kobolds, if you piss them off enough, they just become a boggart.
Yep.
They just become, like, totally... there's no more helpfulness in them. Now they're just purely like, fuck humans. I'm going to be a piece of shit to you.
Right. And so these are more like what we modernly think of as like goblins or gremlins or whatever. They're always like, they're never helpful. They're always malevolent. They're always looking to trip you up or fuck you up or take something that's yours or make something precious to you disappear or hurt somebody that you love or hurt you. So there's some rules, I guess, with boggarts. In northern England, at least, there was a belief that the boggart should never be named. For when the boggart was given a name, it could not be reasoned with or persuaded after that. It would become uncontrollable and destructive. So it's almost like Dobby.
Yeah.
It's almost like a house elf, but you're not supposed to give them a real name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like the same thing with, like, the clothes, basically.
Right.
Yeah,
Don't give them... in the Harry Potter universe, it's don't give him a piece of clothes. In this, it's don't give him
because
name.
because Dobby was hella powerful, wasn't he? Once he had the
Yep.
sock, he was like one of the most powerful wizards.
Yeah, they're super powerful. They're just subservient for whatever reason, like through deception of the wizard class or whatever. It's pretty crazy.
So within the folklore of the northwest England, boggarts can cause mischief in homes, but tend to live outdoors in the marshland, holes in the grounds, under bridges, and on dangerous sharp bends in the roads. The Book of Lancashire Folklore of 1867 makes a distinction between house boggarts and other types. In Lancashire, a skittish or runaway horse was said to have took boggarts that has been frightened by a usually invisible boggart. So they can be invisible too.
So they can spook your horse when you're riding, which is obviously very dangerous.
Right. It's like, a car
Especially if they're
accident.
hanging out on, like, weird, dangerous curves anyway.
Yep. There is one name that I could find for a boggart recorded, Nutnan, who flitted with a shrill scream amongst hazel bushes in Moston near Manchester. In Yorkshire, boggarts are also known to inhabit outdoor locations. One is said to haunt Cave Ha, a limestone cave at Giggleswick.
What
near
the
Settle.
fuck?
Dude, I want to go to Giggleswick so bad.
Let's go to Giggleswick. Come
Is
on.
this the Giggleswick cave?
This is Cave Ha in Giggleswick, yes. This
Cool.
is the best picture I could find of it. Apparently not a very popular place to visit and take pictures of. And why would it be? Nutnan lives there.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to fuck with Nutnan.
Let's
This is
go to
about as
Giggles.
close as anyone wants to get.
Look, let's just fucking... I know we'll have to fly to Giggleswick.
Yep. So, in one old tale said to originate from the village of Mumby in the Lincolnshire countryside, these fucking English names, man. Giggleswick, get out of here.
Giggleswick, Picklesberry,
People suck, man.
Trumbledump. It's like, God damn it. Get some real fucking names.
Giggleswick. So yeah, they're kind of squat, hairy, and they stink. So there's a story that goes like this, and this story actually appears in other folklore. It's sometimes called The Farmer and the Devil, but it originated as a boggart tale. Story goes that a farmer bought a patch of land that happened to be inhabited by a boggart. So the farmer tried to cultivate the field, and of course the boggart gets angry. After much arguing, they decide to work the land together and share in the bounty. The clever farmer, however, began to ponder a way to cheat the boggart out of his share. When they were debating what to plant, he asked the boggart, which half of the crop do you want for your share? The part below the ground or the part above it? The boggart thought for a while before answering, the part below the ground. The farmer sowed the field with barley. At harvest time, the farmer boasted a big pile of barley, while all the boggart had to show for his work was the stubble and the roots. It flew into a rage and screeched that next time it would take what lay above the ground, but the next time the farmer sowed the field with potatoes.
Potatoes.
Oh,
At
So
harvest
these
time,
are not very smart.
Right, so that is one thing that I was able to find about the boggart, whereas all these other ones are almost like godlike smart.
Yeah, the boggarts are kind of dumb.
Boggarts can be tricked pretty easily, apparently.
Yeah, it's like this is like shit you could use to fool like a little kid or something.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah, I want what's above the ground. Okay, let's plant potatoes. Okay, I'm fine with that because I'm a dumbass boggart. Still wouldn't want to fuck with one, though. I mean, just because it's dumb doesn't mean it isn't dangerous.
Oh yeah.
So boggarts can vary in size and general appearance, but are mainly depicted as little humanoid creatures. Boggarts, though usually small, could be as big as a small calf. That still makes them kind of wee folk, but they're bigger in stature, I guess, than the other types of wee folk that we've talked about. Some boggarts can shapeshift into animals. So, there were stories about them shapeshifting into horses and shit.
Wow. So they could take it. I mean, if they can be a horse, that's a pretty big.
Right. So they could be a bear.
Right. So they could be something.
They
They
could
could
be a
be something
killer
much
whale.
larger than what they
Right.
are.
They could be a big dragon, maybe. Who knows? I don't want to fuck with a boggart and find out, do you?
No.
no, I'm good.
I don't need that. I don't
So-
need that shit.
I don't know who would ever do this, but when you tease or misuse a boggart, or you misuse like a one of the fairy folk we've talked about earlier, it will
shit.
become a boggart. So creatures whose sole existence is to just play tricks and cause trouble for you for the rest of your fucking life. They're mischievous, frightening, even dangerous, and they're also very difficult to get rid of. Boggarts tend to punish those who offend them, and in some cases are trying to punish a human for injustice. So even though they're evil little shits, if you do something wrong and it's not even towards the boggart, you might get a boggart on you. So if you fuck over your neighbor, a boggart might go like, oh, fuck that guy. I'm just going to torture him for the rest of his existence. Sour milk for you, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, they love that sour milk, man.
Household boggarts can cause things to disappear. We've heard this before. Milk to sour. They all sour the milk.
Every single one of them, except for the Oompa Loompas
Sour
who
milk.
sweeten the milk.
In some cases, boggarts were thought to be buried, similar to vampires, with a stake driven through the body. So if you want to get rid of one of these, apparently you got to stake it, which might be hard.
Aren't they super fast
Yes.
and can teleport?
Pretty much, yeah. They can take the form of animals, so good luck staking that giant grizzly bear. They can be totally invisible all the time. So unlike these other ones, boggarts don't just turn invisible. A lot of the stories about them, they're always fucking invisible. So good luck staking that as well. I also found examples of them being servants to even more powerful evil beings.
So they could be like a demon's little henchman or something.
Right. And they're completely variable in size as well.
Oh, so are they all small, or can some of them actually be larger?
When it comes to their humanoid forms, they're small, but they can take the form of anything, of any size.
Okay.
So they can definitely become big and strong if they need to.
Shit.
And so that's the last of our wee folk. I thought we could go back through and look at the powers of each one of these and try and decide which one is the most undesirable to have around you.
All right.
So the kobolds, once again, if you'll remember, they can shapeshift, they can be invisible, and they can teleport.
Right.
Those
Pretty
were
intimidating.
those were their main things. They fuck with you if you offend them. Having one around might seem like a good thing because they're helping you out, but it means you're basically a slave to the feelings of the kobold. You hurt their feelings, you're fucked.
I mean, you can be ripped apart and thrown into a stew. Fuck.
We learned about leprechauns and clurichons, which can grant wishes, which at least makes them, godlike.
But you get Twilight Zone wishes. You don't get wishes that just everything turns out
You gotta
great.
be very careful with the wording of those wishes.
Yeah.
'Cause
Right.
If there's a loophole to make the wish into something you don't want, they'll do it.
They are enticing, super enticing. So unlike some of these other ones, which you might be able to turn around and run away from, when you see one, you're like, oh, I want to go see the wee little man and have him in my house. They're supernaturally quick and supernaturally devious.
Devious.
You got to take that one into account. The Oompa Loompa, which I guess in their non-African slave variety, have the ability to come up with the sickest burns ever on the spot, know the exact timing to which you're going to be the most devastated by the roast.
Yep.
They're
there to fuck you up.
They're great songwriters. I mean, I will forever have Oompa Loompa Doompity Doo stuck in my fucking head.
Oompa Loompa Doompity Doo.
Expert mechanics. They can build scientific, machines and maintain them.
They
and they have no pity.
No empathy.
They're
no
completely
remorse.
devoid of pity
Dude,
for
I
you.
know who I fear the most. That's easy, man.
And then the boggarts, they can take the form of any animal. They can be totally invisible all the time. They serve beings that are even more powerful and evil than them, and they can vary their size. So which one of these would you least like to run into?
Yeah, I think the kobold is the worst for me.
Yeah?
Dude, you're a fool, man. TJ, I think you should fucking truly fear the Oompa Loompas.
That's the one that I pick.
Dude, that's why
Here's why I don't. Here's the thing about the burns that they do are sick and devastating, but they pretty much wait until you're already at the lowest point of your life. So I mean, it's like
TJ,
it adds insult to injury, but the injury really is worse.
You're not understanding.
Like-
TJ, look, you're not understanding something.
Yeah,
It's all been designed from the moment that fucking boy
that might be true.
even set foot in that factory. It was
No,
known
dude.
what would happen.
Adding insult to injury is watching a dude trip and going, have a nice trip, see you next fall. Okay?
Right.
They add injury to injury.
Yeah,
They
maybe.
come by and literally roast the skin from your bones with the sickest burn that you've ever heard. The one
think
that
about this,
cuts
though.
to the very core of you. It's not just like, oh, TJ, you're fat. Oh, TJ, you have a booger hanging out of your nose.
But think about this though: if you got
to
a
the
kobold,
core.
if you got a kobold, dude,
Yeah.
you got it in his house, it's helping you out, but you are for the rest of your life walking on fucking eggshells because you know that little helper that's making things go real nice for you. If you just step one little toe out
You
of
know
line
what,
and
TJ?
offend them, next thing you know, you might be befalling the worst fucking fate imaginable. So it's like a life of just constantly being
But you
on
know what,
edge.
TJ? That's like a physical threat. What about the haunting trauma of every day, knowing about that fucking bird?
Yeah, think about every time
You're not gonna say you're gonna be sitting in bed at night, TJ. You're fucking about trying to fall asleep. Like every time the Oompa Loompa. Yeah, you're gonna fucking hear that shit, dude. You're gonna fucking feel the burn.
Why?
TJ's latest viral hit, dude. That's gonna be your last fucking viral hit you'll ever get.
TJ tries to lay down and take a nice nap, and it's like, Oompa Loompa Doompity Doo. There are still things for TJ to do. And they'll just torment you with all the things that you need to do until you get up and do them. So it's the same thing as being infested with a kobold. You got to live on eggshells around the Oompa Loompas.
No, they don't really. I mean, they don't really pay that much attention to you. They sing their song and they pretty much go about their day.
Right,
so.
but that song is the most devastating thing you've ever had said to
Maybe.
you. You never recover from it. Every time you go out into public
TJ,
from then on out,
look,
people are looking at you
Think
because
about
they know
every
you're the
scandal
guy.
you've ever had, TJ. Think about every little thing that TJ got some attention on the internet. Now times that by a fucking bazillion, zillion, TJ.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere. Fucking 50, 100 million, 200 million views of TJ being pwned by the Oompa Loompas.
Whatever happened to the RV trip? See,
still-
you'd be done.
The kobolds are worse, dude. You guys are just trying so hard to give it to the Oompa Loompas because you want it to be some modern,
dude.
unexpected thing.
Nah, TJ, fuck you,
but
dude.
we all know realistically, if you had a choice between like the Oompa Loompas going to sing a song at me, or I'm going to be held hostage by this fucking malevolent entity.
I
that
wouldn't
could
be held
turn on me at
hostage.
any
I'd whip
second.
his ass, TJ. I ain't afraid of no fucking kobold, dude.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I'd rip that motherfucker apart and put him in my fucking stew.
But at least like the Bogart, I mean, the Leprechaun and Bogart. Bogart tells you where it stands, so you know right away. Like
Yeah.
I'm fucking with this. This thing's a piece of shit, and it's at me.
Right.
Leprechaun, they got some fucking positive things. They got some charm. Kobolds, it's just emotional fucking blackmail. Oompa Loompas, man, as long as you don't. I mean, if you live by the Oompa Loompa code, you'd be all right.
But you're not going to, TJ.
Who can live up to the Oompa Loompa? Like
No one really can. But
they could write 10 songs about me right now.
probably.
Fat, stupid, obstinate. You know what I mean? Forgetful. Like I could literally be assaulted with 10 full Oompa Loompa burns right now, and I think of myself as a genuinely okay person. You know what I mean? Look at this standard you have to hold yourself to not get roasted by the Loompas.
That is true.
I'm going with the Loompas, man.
Maybe
I think
so.
I got a better chance leaving some
modern
honey out
society,
for my
TJ,
fucking kobold.
trying
Look,
to
TJ,
trying to kiss down the kobold's
TJ,
good
500,
side.
500 years ago, you'd be right, man. But now, the times we live in, dude,
There's no way.
the Oompa Loompas are the worst, man.
Oompa Loompa Doompity Doo.
Because see, the thing about like when you know your little podcast and YouTube career is over, dude, because Blue is gonna come tell you, dude. When you get to your last scandal, they just go, "Hey, TJ, you're done now, man. You're fucked, man."
What do you get when you're a washed-up old freak?
You get a 1-minute fucking song, and then they just exit. They just leave your
They're
life.
gone.
And then you just have to sit there in despair, knowing that they've just destroyed you and everything they said is correct.
And everybody knows it, too.
Yeah, everyone knows.
Everybody's going to be humming your demise the next day you see them.
Do.
Well, that's the wee folk, everybody.
The wee folk.
The weeest of the wee folk.
Why don't you guys tell us which one you think is the worst?
Yep.
Which one do you dread the most
If I were
coming
you,
into your life?
I would dread the Clurachon as well. TJ, you've got one now. I revealed myself to you. I'm a fucking Clurachon. I just want to be drunk and happy and drink your booze and tell you stories. And if you fucking step on my toe the wrong way, I'm taking it all. Taking all your booze.
The Clurachon comes.
Be careful, TJ. Watch yourself, man.
Better
Oh, shit, I'm
watch
sorry.
yourself.
That's a veiled threat, dude. I'm
Don't
sorry.
veil threats at me.
I'm sorry, man. Veiled
Damn.
threat.
Don't veil no threats,
Sorry,
bitch.
man.
Peace.